You were saying that you were pregnant through the working of this book.
Halfway
And
through
it was, so that's quite something to be dealing with hate speech, with conspiracies, and you're a Muslim yourself. I mean, though you said that that's not an aspect of your identity that you like to bring into your work, but still a lot of the conspiracies are centered on Muslims, on what, they think, how they eat, or who they love. So it becomes personal also in some ways.
Of course, it is very personal, but at the very outset, I'd like to acknowledge my privilege. Like, I'm not visibly Muslim, because of which I feel I'm afforded some sort of protection. But so we started working on the book around April, May, June in 2022. End of 2022, I found out I was pregnant. And the journey after that, I think more than me, I think it got quite overwhelming for my husband and my mother, because I would get hormonal, I would start weeping in between, especially when going through hate speech, because I was building the database on hate speech, and we were going through filtering each of those to see how much of those were lies, etc. And to actually reread all of those again, starting from 2009 onwards and till, and I was working on that till May 31st, 2023.
Literally till
and 5 days later, my
time.
son was born. And it was overwhelming. I remember this one particular incident at one point, I think quite late in the night, I'd woken up my partner and I'd said, I think we need to reconsider names. He said, why, what is that? It's like, no, we need to make a decision whether we want our child to have a explicitly Muslim sounding name, or do we want to go for an ambiguous sounding name? Because unfortunately, we live in a time, and I'm looking at all these cases now, your name determines your crime, right? So even in the book, we have spoken about how love jihad is a label that's given to interfaith relationships if the man is a Muslim.
Yeah.
You have other interfaith relationships, or even you have gender-based crimes where if the man is Hindu, it's not love jihad. If you look at Shraddha Aftab case, that was labeled love jihad, but immediately after that, you had a series of other similar cases where the male partner got aggressive, murdered their female partner, but none of those made headlines. So that was a conversation I had to have. And this was something I'd spoken about. I don't know if you've read this book called Mothering a Muslim by Nazia Iram. And when I'd spoken to Nazia also in her book as well speaks about choosing the name for her daughter. And I'd spoken to her at the time when she had released the book. This was at the time when I was working with Hindustan Times. And honestly, I've told her that at that time I found it a little, I was like, is this a bit of an overreaction? I thought of that. But when I came to that juncture and I realized I was having similar thoughts, what would I name my child?